Hello everybody, Brad the Guitarologist here. In this episode, we will ask the eternal question, what the f*** is this thing? This amp was brought to me by a customer, and as much as I tried to refuse and tell him, dude, I don't know what this thing is really, there's gonna be no schematic, I'm sure. And this might take a while to fix. He said, okay, well, I'll just leave it with you anyway. So here it is in all of its splendor. I have no clue what it is. Well, I do have one clue, and it's on the back of the amplifier, and we'll take a look at that shortly. We can see the controls here on the front panel, and it has treble, middle, bass, loudness, and reverb. Jewel light, couple of inputs, and a bright and normal selector. So this is possible that this is some kind of Fender clone, maybe some kind of Marshall clone too. I really don't know. We may have to kind of assess that, see what the heck it is. I'm going to turn it around first, and we'll take a look at what little evidence we do have as to its origin. My customer who brought me this thing said he got this from someone in Indianapolis, I believe. And the only clue as to who made it is over here. Well, it's more than a clue. It actually spells it out, who made it. Custom built by John Holbrook. The guy who originally bought this said he bought it from a guy, from John Holbrook, and that he had an English accent. And my customer kind of said he put two and two together and thought maybe this is the same John Holbrook that he had read elsewhere that was supposedly a roadie or a tech or something for Jimi Hendrix. I don't know how true that. I don't know if this is the same guy. I don't know how true that is. Could just be a coincidence. No clue. We'll see if we can get to the bottom of that. And who knows, maybe this is some long-lost Jimi Hendrix amp. Maybe it's just a hodgepodge of stuff by some random guy. Who knows? At any rate, we're going to try to take a look at it, try to assess what it is. We have, looks like originally 4 speaker outputs, but that's only one has been in use or installed. There's a hum balance pot here on the outside. There's another. Oh no, that's actually closed up. That used to be something and has been closed up. There's a ground switch and there's a power on off switch. I do not see a reverb tank in this thing. Oh, well, yes I do. Yes I do. The reverb tank is right up in front. You can see it right back there. So there is a reverb tank. At first I thought, man, there's reverb on here, but no reverb tank. How's he doing that? But no, I do see a reverb tank. There's also a note up here on the top about the transformers that were used and stuff like that. Talks about the secondary ohmage and which wires are which. So that's useful. Probably come in handy. But yeah, man, just a weird thing, and this is probably gonna be quite the adventure, so stick around. Alright, before we go really any further with this, I want to know what it's doing or not doing, and I can tell right off the bat it's a lot of hum. Gosh, I guess I need it. Yeah, I can tell right off the bat it's a lot of hum. I'm not using this microphone right now. I'm just trying to preliminarily see what it's doing. So, I'm not that concerned. It's doing nothing. Okay. There. I've got something now, but it's very faint. And I only got that by adjusting the hum balance pot that was all the way one direction. I kind of put it in the middle and got something. But this thing has got problems for sure. Probably pretty big ones. Man, tell you what. Just wiggling the output right now and trying to see if there's any life at all in anything. Apparently it has tremolo as well. That's not showing any signs of life either. So this thing has got issues, to say the least, and I am about this close, about this close, maybe this close. I'm about maybe that close to calling the customer and saying, hey man, you're gonna pay me a lot of money to fix this. Maybe you don't want to do that. So that's how close I am to doing just that. It's about that close. We'll see. Yeah, it isn't very often that I give up on something, especially before even really getting started on it. But this is going to be one of those times, and I'll tell you why. It's pretty bodged. First of all, it's pretty bodged together. We have two different chassis here. We have this one over here. We have this one over here that are separated here. So I'm guessing they come out separately, and they are, it looks like they are wired together with these little connectors. There's a connector here and another one there and another one here, and all these wires over here are like a rat's nest, just kind of bodged together. And then you have another board up there that has the controls on it, and you can see all the wires, all the shielded cable running back, and you would have to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10 screws out of that thing to get that thing out somehow, at the same time of getting these two chassis down here out. Just a real pain in the ass. Then you've got this separate board up here, which looks like the tremolo board. Then you have a separate board over here, kind of floating in the breeze, which looks like the probably reverb, I'm guessing, with the tube up sideways. And then you just got a weird set of transformers, and got this little guy here. There's 4 different transformers. I'm guessing one of them is for reverb. This is probably, God, see, I don't even know which one the choke would. There's probably a choke, and there's an output, I'm sure. This will be the output. This is probably a choke, and then this may be a reverb, or I don't know. Don't even know. And I'm probably not going to find out, because sometimes you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. In this case, know when to run. This one is not for me. It's going to take me too much time to trace out. I have no idea even what this amp is. I have no idea what it's based on. I could sit there and find out. I could draw a schematic, but does someone really want to pay me to draw a schematic? I kind of doubt it. He's probably better off selling this thing as is to somebody who is does what I do and has time to put into this as a hobby. But this is just not something that I'm going to be able to come in at a reasonable amount of money on. So, like I said, got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. This one I'm going to run away from. The customer brought me a couple of other amplifiers in addition to this one, so it's not a total loss He can just pick it up as is, and I won't charge him for a bench fee.
Watching it from the bench.
On second thought, you know what? There's two plugs here. This one and then this weird ass thing right here. Actually, you know what? That plug right there looks like the kind of plug you would use on a on the old Webster Chicago stuff I've been messing with. I should go back and look at that. That might be the same weird plug that goes with the Webster Chicago stuff. Anyway, unplug that from right there on that socket, and unplug this one from this socket. And I don't even know if that's... Is there a way to tell if that's... Yeah, one of these is larger. Okay, that should allow us... That should allow us to remove this chassis right here. So, what the hell? Why not? Let's remove that chassis and see what's going on. See what kind of hodgepodge craziness is going on underneath the hood. Okay, let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes here. What a weird design. This is definitely made of some kind of old repurposed chassis. I think this thing was just bodged together completely by somebody with just a bunch of parts laying around. And there's the other side of that board. That's Sprague. Those Sprague capacitors are just, I mean, old as Methuselah. I have to wonder when this thing was built. It must have been the 70s. I mean, well, I don't know, because, yeah, maybe not, because that's a more modern part right there. Yeah, this is just, wow. Man, who builds like this? Seriously, dude. Look at this. This is just a weird build. I've got new Ruby capacitor, new JJ capacitor, new generic capacitor. Here's an F&T right here. I've got a big ass, whatever this is, capacitor up here. What is that? That looks like a giant Sprague. Man, yeah. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see. I'm gonna zoom. Okay, yeah, there's such a hodgepodge of parts here. And the soldering, the terminals are the split terminals where you just put the lead down in between the little splits and then solder it on. So there's no telling where there might be a break or something in this thing. This is just cobbled together with old parts, basically, with the exception of these bigger capacitors here. This is just a mismatch of old stuff that was laying around somebody's shop. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Just weird as hell. So he's built the power amp into this chassis and the preamp into that chassis over there. This would be the power amp, and also I guess that's the phase inverter up here on top. And man, if that's the phase inverter, then look, you've got high voltage. You'll have high voltage on the back of this board right here. So if you reach in here trying to change tubes, you're going to have high voltage right past that tube, maybe even on that wire right there. Holy shit. Just, man. Do I want to go any further with this? Do I really want to go any further with this? Do I want to... do I want to prolong the agony? That is the question. I guess why the hell not? I've gone this far. I'm going to set this down. Let's get this chassis out and see what kind of a... Let's see what kind of a warmed over hell that is. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to disconnect. What am I going to have to disconnect? I don't even know. I guess I need to disconnect this. Why else would it be here? These are just some weird ass connectors. This is like something you'd see on a car or something. That right there. That's just a weird... This is a weird build. This is the weirdest build I've ever seen. No offense to you, John, if you're watching. I mean, I'm sure this may be a genius thing. I mean, from one perspective, maybe you just had a bunch of stuff around the shop and you said, okay, let's just see what I can build today. And you came up with something that was usable out of a bunch of parts. And maybe in that respect, you deserve some praise. But this is just a very, very weird design. Very, very weird. Look at this. Right up here on top. I mean, we've got stuff that looks like it came out of maybe old Gibson amplifiers, and we've got... There's a new F&T capacitor right there. What tubes do we have? This is an OA2. He's got an OA2 tube in this thing. What is going on? There are simpler tremolo circuits. I don't even know what this is. See, there's no label on this tube. At this point, I'm basically just in a mode of just complete curiosity. Here is, let's see, let's get over here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay, here's the board that's in the rear. This is an OA2 tube. This is, I don't know what, that's either a 6EU7 or 12AX7 or something like that. I'm guessing that's also 12AX7 maybe. There's another one down there. We've got all of these, we've got all these wires coming off this thing. We've got one here which you cannot disconnect, that goes to the up here to the input via this long wire. Granted, it's shielded, but that's a long way to go from an input. So I don't know, man. I'm guessing this is the V1 tube right here. This board up here is tremolo board, and it's just got another mismatch of parts, mishmash, however you want to say it. Mishmash of parts. Man. And then you've got some leads back here that you can disconnect, I think, that are going to the reverb. Then you have a little transformer here, I'm guessing is part of the reverb circuit. And good God, to even really get this all the way out, you would have to take out that front panel also and disconnect the leads to the reverb, which are down here. At this point, I'm just curious what I've been sent here. Look at this. 2 boards in layers on top of one another. Look at this. Look at this. There's 2 boards in layers. You got one board up here that would have to be unscrewed and lifted out. You've got tape and a little shielding here. Is that a... what is that under there? God knows. Again, with the old... why do we have these Sprague Black Beauty capacitors? These are almost never good when you pull them out of amps. So why stick them in your build? I don't understand. Man, I'm in awe. I'm awestruck by this. You guys who don't work on a lot of amps may not understand why I would be awestruck by this, but I just am, because this is just this is a very strange way to build, with boards layered on top of one another like this, boards on another board mounted to another piece of metal. I guess this is aluminum. Just weirdo. This is just weirdo stuff, man. This is just somebody with a lot of excess parts laying around and being really bored, it looks like. Unfortunately, there's no schematic, and for me to sit here and trace all this out and make something work is probably not in the cards on this day.
It is not this day!
I would say, judging by the OA2 and also judging by some of the components I see, such as the Sprague Black Beauties, which sometimes did appear in Gibson amps, and also this orange Sprague right here, particularly, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's an orange Sprague capacitor right there, and you see those a lot in Gibson amps. Also, I think this reverb tank is a Gibbs reverb tank, which you see a lot in Gibson amplifiers. So I think what's happened here is he's parted out an old Gibson amplifier, stolen a lot of the components from it, added a lot of new components, and just a bunch of stuff that was laying around, and tried to make an amplifier out of this. And I guess he may have been successful. Maybe he also has a junkyard, and he's just getting rid of a lot of old connectors. I don't even know, man. This connector shit right here is just weird. It's weird. This is the weirdest. It's the weirdest fucking amplifier I think I've ever seen as far as the build. It's just the way this is put together is just clown show. It really is. Again, no offense to you, John. Maybe this was one of your first builds or something, or I don't know, dude. But there's no schematic. You could have at least like pasted a schematic down here or something and said, "Dear future repairman, first of all, sorry. Second of all, here's the schematic. Anyway, I think that's going to be all for this video, guys. I'm gonna connect this all back up and send this back to the customer with my apologies, but also with my well wishes of finding anyone on the planet who is gonna look at this and fix it in a price bracket that he can afford. So anyway, that's all for today.